daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome back to the Daily Southampton, part of the Global Sports Podcast Network. My name is Greg Elliott, and as always, today joined by my good friend, a wonderful co-host, Zach Ingo Finch. How you doing, mate?
I have aged since this podcast last went live. I am now 33. Had a good birthday, as you can see. If anyone watches, got a new Saints top. We just had a cracking 3-0 win, mate. I'm buzzing. I'm good. How about you, bud?
Mate, look, 10 o'clock at night recordings on a Tuesday evening come much easier when you win 3-0. Let's put it that way.
What do you mean? If we'd lost 3-0, we would also have been mad. And we would have been able to bash this out with absolutely no issue. Because all we do is talk about football, mate. It is the basis and foundation of our friendship.
Oh, you're right. Look, I think it's reasonable to call it a decisive victory in the EFL Cup.
In the end, it was a nervy first half, and there were a couple of decisions there that made me have sort of what felt like war flashbacks to Alex McCarthy making some decisions, some defensive, a bit.
But we're not worried about defensive errors because most importantly of all of it is we got some goals scored by some strikers.
Three goals actually scored by outfield players. It's been so long, mate. It's been so long we've not had to think about centre back scoring. At least since pre-season, right? Like, yeah.
But look, I mean, it's good stuff. It's exactly what you want to see. Cameron Archer off the mark. It's going to be the starts of a 40-goal season. That's what we predicted, right? It's got to be.
That is what you predicted, correct, Greg?
Look, it was a beautiful finish. He picked the ball up, he shuffled it out his feet, sent the defender for a hot dog, and just lobbed the keeper in a lovely
It was a really good goal, right? And initially I was like, I'm surprised the defenders gave him that much time. You made the point where actually he made that time for himself by dummying it a little bit. And then, really, really well picked out place, just went in the goal straight away. Mad, isn't it? When they take shots at the goal and don't wait for it to get 2 inches away from the goal, they can actually score.
Look, without meaning to get ahead of ourselves and skip the second goal, I mean, the best example of kicking the ball at the goal has to come from Matchday, right?
Mate. I've been raving about this guy for ages, right? I did a really comprehensive player profile on Matsuki, and one of the points in that profile, and I got it up to read it out because I'm like that, was literally
bring the receipts.
Yeah, was to say that considering about blah 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 blah, transition good one punch. He has good goal threat from long range, and he hits the ball really well, but can sometimes be problematic in his decision making. So sometimes people would get annoyed because he would kick the ball from really far out, really poorly, and it would go out. But that time he saw it, he thought I could give that a crack. He gave it a crack, and kicking the ball at the goal scored a goal, especially when you get on target.
It was even better than that because when you watch the replay, he looks to his right to see if the run is on for the short ball out to the wing, which we all favour. Mm-hmm. And he saw that the man was covered. He looked out to his left to see if there was anyone worth passing to in support. Established, why not? And just levered it at the goal. And it went in. Like,
absolutely beautiful. And bear in mind, he didn't play the best in Northampton, but it is one of those. He is a player that when we looked at preseason, everyone kind of thought, "Wow, he's going to be really lively." And I saw a lot of the fan base just be like, "Well, he'll probably be shipped out on loan," and some of the other people, we've looked at a little bit. So Kaya Sander, as example, has been shipped out on loan. We're going to have a lot to talk about in Transfer Thursday. Kind of glad we've left it to Transfer Thursday, Greg, not going to lie. So much has happened. Not as much of it incoming as we'd like, but we'll you never know. A lot can happen in a day. A lot needs to happen. It hasn't resolved all of our problems, but it is an example of how there is depth in the club that we haven't really tapped up or used. And that is an example of it.
I'm really surprised it's taken a cup game. He had such a good pre-season. It's baffling that it took that long. right?
He's been playing in like a similar role to Matty Fernandez, right? That's where they want to deploy him. And the problem with that is that do you deploy him over Matty Fernandez with no, probably not. That doesn't mean that he's not going to be useful and around. And as we start to change things about, I think that there's a chance, hopefully he'll have more of the ability to show how good he is. Because again, like he captained his side in Japan.
If Will still sees Fernandez as more of an 8 anyway, and he's looking for a 10, and if you're basing it off of current form and what we've sort of seen through the games, do you think our best midfield, if we're sticking with a 3, might be Shea Charles, Matty Fernandez, and Matsuki?
Now, I don't want to do a disservice to Finland Downs, especially this early on. Didn't have the best game. He was our captain for today.
A couple of games in a row that we said that as well now. 2 or 3.
I don't know whether it's the struggle. I don't know whether it's learning to play 17 different types of football in the space of a year. It's messed him up a little bit, whereas, Matsuki's coming a bit more fresh to how we play at Southampton or whatever the way that Will still was trying to force it. It might just be fatigue because they've gone from Russell Martin, you run once or twice a game when you have to make the sprints or you have to run back, to you will run every day 5 miles non-stop, the sort of level of training that they've put in pre-season. But I would not be also opposed to it. Like people are talking, I've already seen some people share their opinion today, probably based off of the performance today, that if we bring in another midfielder that plays sort of better, Downs becomes a backup, surely. And I don't think that's a bit of a disservice. Again, you might just be having a rough start. But, based off of that, if what people are saying is that we don't have creativity, we had somebody who came on and scored a really, really good goal, which is something we've not seen for a while, realistically.
And look, Fraser...
he already plays for us. We don't even need to transfer him in.
And look, Fraser also getting on the score sheet for the first time in an upsettingly long time.
2024, apparently, last year. Yeah. I don't remember when, but that's kind of mad, isn't it, really, when you think about it? Considering how many goals he scored for us in the Championship, especially sort of late goals. And so, yeah, very much so.
I mean, he also showed himself to be particularly useful in that sort of favoured role. And I guess allowed to go back into that role now that we actually have a right back.
Yeah, Ruslev played really, really well. I didn't expect it. Again, it's hard to, I'm sure we'll get into the transfer Tuesday, Thursday, whatever tomorrow, right? And there's been a lot of backlash for us signing a third choice goalkeeper who, let's face it, probably is never going to play, is there because we needed cover. We've talked about how we needed cover. I think what people actually wanted was a replacement for Gavin Bazunu in the first choice, and they're annoyed that that's not going to happen. Whereas we've kind of discussed previously, Bazunu's been playing all right. Realistically, it's if McCarthy gets injured, there's a problem. And, if we technically still own Ramsdale and Newcastle don't buy him and we go into next season and we've splashed out and then we end up with 5 keepers, we will continue this cycle of problems that we have. It's on a loan, so that loan will end and then maybe McCarthy will go to third and Bazunu to second if Ramsdale comes back. We don't know, but it is very much that is the same where a lot of Brentford fans
thought about it. I hadn't really thought about it before, but I guess arguably if we end up in a really bad situation goalkeeper-wise, presumably there's an option to recall Ramsdale and take the wages hit.
I mean, it depends whether or not he would do that, right? That's the problem. And I think some of the other things that people have said is, why are we not giving Dylan Moody a run out? I'm like, because when you're 17 and you're developing, surely you need to play games and not be sat on a bench for 2 to 3 years of for an entire year of your career on the basis that, it's good to get around the senior team, but he's also in those under 18, under 23 teams. Yeah. So he needs to play in them.
And a 17-year-old goalkeeper's basically in the womb, let's be honest.
That is also another thing, right? So, yeah, I think that that there's been, I think what my point was here was there is a lot of Brentford fans that were kind of like, yeah, he's not that great and this and the other, and you could take him off our hands. And that's how a lot of the Norwich fans are feeling with some of our transfers. And again, it depends. Like, we have had players before that are not very good until you put them into the right system. One of the reasons that Soleimani did so well in the second half of the season was because he got moved into a different system than the Russell Martin ball system, right?
Look,
And
you
it might
could
just
say
be
the same about exactly who we were talking about, Ryan Fraser, right? Like, he
correct.
struggled and had personality clashes with managers and stuff at other clubs, but has come here and has shown that his attitude is, I mean, it's exemplary. You can't fault him. I don't think he's
People
put
can
a foot wrong all
change.
season. Like,
things can happen. People might get bored of playing on the bench. You know, I have had moments in my life where I've been demotivated and not that good at a thing, and then I've had moments where suddenly I've had some circumstances have changed and I've been able to be really, really good at things. There's specific aspects of my job which I can look at and recall. You know, with that, like, I didn't know how to talk on a mic when I first started podcasting, and now it's the second nature. You know, I still
crazy,
don't
right?
speak properly, but that's just because of the way I word.
Indeed.
But
right, I have other points to bring up and points of concern as well. Not just all positives.
Perfect.
We can't just gush, but
that's me. I'm the one that worries about stuff, mate, not you.
But first, a message from our partners at Bioniq.
Your body is unique, and Global Sports Podcast Network has partnered with Bioniq, the world's most personalised supplements. Bioniq provide 100% tailor-made supplements, designed to deliver precisely what your body needs at exactly the right levels to optimize your health. No guessing. So click the link in the show notes. Use the code GSPN2025 for 40% off your first month's subscription. Bioniq. Don't settle for off-the-shelf solutions made for just anybody. Get what's right for you right now. Your body.
Okay, and we are back. Look, all right. I want to...
Point of concerns, mate. That's what I want to know.
Right, look, I want to start with the positive, which leads into the point of concern.
Done 11 minutes of positives.
No.
You pop off, mate.
I've got a very specific point in time, right? So, look, Alex McCarthy made some very good saves tonight. Probably at some crucial moments of the game, right? Where if Norwich pull back an equaliser, it might be a different story. It's not quite as comfortable. But his distribution still was not great. And, man, there were some decisions passing the ball around the back that were interesting.
The problem is, Greg, is that's the two ways that you can give the ball away. To other players. Like, if his distribution's bad, and then you're worrying about him passing out from the back as well. How else?
Exactly. But not exclusively McCarthy we're talking about with these mistakes as well. Like, all of the centre-backs had a few questionable passes into and not just questionable passes, right? Like, Wood nearly stuck it in the back of the net if not for a save from McCarthy. Let's not forget.
That would have been a good goal.
Yeah.
But I agree. But I think that Nathan Wood's been out for a while, and as I said, I predicted he'd be a starter at the weekend. I think he played really, really well against Stoke, despite the fact that, you know, there were mistakes that led. I don't think it was like an individual performance that led to the Stoke mishap, right? I think that he played well at the weekend. I think he's come back in. You could see that from the injury he picked up, he had a bit of a
literal eye.
Literally
old school centre back, like taped head, black eye, wooden leg.
And you know, took a bit of a knock today and was bleeding all over the park. And you know, I was expected him to kind of go a lot earlier than he did, and obviously got swapped out for Charlie Taylor in the end. But I think he had a really, really decent game, and I think it's been good for him to come in. And I think with Kwasi and Edwards, okay. We know that they need to be bedded into the team. Downs as well. I think that the big point of concern around that, Greg, is the fact that, okay, well, who are we going to play at Pompey? Because if we're supposed to be getting new transfers in, I feel like a team we've seen over the weekend or similar to this evening is what we're going to have to play at Pompey. Because if we're just going to I feel like you can't shove new transfers in to a derby match like that without giving them time to bed into the squad. Like, I think it's going to be mad. But, you know, Roroslev did a lot better fitting into that sort of position, and Manning got an assist again today. But yeah, you're right that maybe we do need. I think people were talking about us needed another centre back, and I thought we had 75 at one point, and we do, but maybe somebody I don't know a bit more. I don't know, because Wood was a bit of a bruiser, but again, it's because you've got this sort of they need time to bed in. We don't have time if we want to win, or if we want to get automatic qualification. We don't have the time to try and bed in.
Well, I have to say that I think look. Obviously, you call into question some of the decisions, and we've had. I don't know. I don't want to say doubts. I think that would be a bit harsh about Quasi. I think he's just settling in. But I think what I took from it is that they really missed the leadership that Stevens brings to that back line, which is kind of crazy to say out loud when you think about some of the conversations we had before the season started. But
I think that I'm also
really
not too proud enough, Greg, to hold my hands up and say that we might have been wrong. Right?
Yeah.
Like I think that's one of the problems with humanity and society as an entity to get deeper this 10 o'clock recording is that sometimes we can't put our hands up and say, I think I was wrong about that. We always talked about how a lot of managers talked about how good he was behind the scenes. We didn't really see it on the pitch as much. And I will say that I basically said strip him of the captaincy after the second red card and take it away. And then, he scored a really solid goal. But you're right. I think that when we had like Bednarek, I think he was able to step into that role quite easily. But where you've got what would have been third or fourth choice centre-back from last season alongside two brand new centre-backs, the lack of that sort of, I guess, seniority in the back line as well just wasn't there either. Like Manning's basically our oldest player. Look at that point. And he's too busy bolting it up the left-hand side to be able to kind of organise that defence.
Yeah, again, in this system, not a defender. Like, it's just not. It's not how it works. But look, I think there was a huge amount of positives to take from it, and obviously the scoreline reflects that. But
still a championship
but
side,
even outside of the scoreline, there was lots of movement up front. I saw lots of runs that weren't picked out that should have been. I mean, how many times can Ross Stewart nearly get on the end of a ball before one of them accidentally hits him and goes in the goal?
Inches, right? There was a dive-in header. There was at one point he missed the ball by it's almost like he just needs. I think it's just that problem with that sort of gangly, tall striker. It's just having that level. You saw it Downs as well, right? Like you just, they almost need to just be like a foot further every single time. Maybe life would just be a lot better.
That's the thing with football, and particularly being a striker, though, is that when you're on form, that happens for you without thinking about it. When you are in desperate need of a goal, everything is that extra millimetre away, and they just need. It really just feels like they need just one to just bounce in, but it's still promising that they're almost there in the right positions, right? Like they're in the box, nearly getting in the end of crosses. Like we had so many chances, and it's good to see. It's exactly what we need. Like shots and shots on target. We had 9 shots tonight, which really seems low, but 5 of them are on target and 3 of them were goals. So
again, Norwich aren't a walkover side. They're they're championship opposition. Yeah, okay, they were a rough start to the season, but no real rougher than we have.
And they were they were a rotated team as well. It was not their first choice 11 out on the pitch. No, they had chances.
Yeah, 100%.
They had chances in the first half for sure.
Couple of scary ones.
Really, yeah, but it even with that, it still coming to the end of the game felt comfortable, which is really good to say, right? Considering how rotated we were as well, right? Like
odd to say as a Saints fan that at any point it felt comfortable. And I did not think we really had a big chance of losing it after we went 2 up. And that is not something I ever usually feel. And I'm pretty sure you're in the same boat, right?
I actually felt after we scored 1, I'm like, we're going to go on and score a couple here. And that's not my normal position as a Saints fan. It's normally an on edge of the seat discomfort, but I didn't really feel it. Which is nice.
If I'd swapped my prediction for the weekend, right? Weekend I said 3-0. This game I said 2-1.
Well, look,
If
I
we
mean,
swap them
this
round, you're
commentator
almost
on
right.
Sky pointed out that actually your prediction wasn't that bad of an idea because this is the first game of the entire season that Norwich have been involved in that haven't ended 2-1.
It's a
How
bad,
crazy is that?
a bad day for them for sure. A good day for us, and again, a well deserved day for Ryan Fraser. Right, you talked
Hmm.
about it earlier with the fact that he's kind of benefited from maybe a change of system, change of role, but ultimately proving. It's not like it's the vital Wembley winning goal, but it's still important, and it still shows that okay, we get ourselves in the right positions, we do the right things, we pick the right defenders to tackle, and this and the other. We will actually get the ball in the net because
Yeah.
the doom over the last week, especially around transfers, is starting to pick up a lot. Greg, I know that you stay
Hmm.
away from social media, but there is a lot of discontent because we're selling everybody, which we needed to do, but there's a lot of upset that there's no one really coming in the door, and I guess the reason being is because there is not a lot of faith in the players we currently have, and there is understandable reasons as to why. But today showed that even with some of our depth, we are able to have a comprehensive win, right? And that's
Yeah.
what's important.
Even in a game where we brought Brembo and Diaz on. Right, I've got. Right, look,
Oh, mate.
I've got other talking points. I'm not gonna rag on how little his contribution was to the game too much. Other than that, I've got
Oh,
another point. I've got a star to pick out, but first, a message from our partners at Zencastr. Here at the Global Sports Podcast Network, we spent a lot of time selecting our delivery platform. Zencastr came out the clear winner with 4K video recording from your phone and AI editing that automatically removes all those ums and ahs. It's super easy to start a podcast that sounds great and is delivered efficiently. If you're ready to tell your story, check out the link in the show description and learn more about Zencastr. Okay, and we are back. I talked before the break about what I wanted to pick out. You talked earlier about the man of the match being Nathan Wood and how it shouldn't just be the goal scorers. And actually,
to be clear, I would like to quote that's Maxi on X that talked about
all right,
that.
well, that's fine. But look,
I don't want to just be like, I don't want to just regurgitate someone's opinion and claim it's mine. Is all my point is.
but look, I kind of echo that sentiment. But my pick for man of the match is Shea Charles
Yeah,
because I just think that,
engine,
especially, yeah, and
right
more than that,
positions.
he's just is willing to carry the ball and take
Mm.
on a couple of players and just put that slightly more lethal pass forward than I think anyone else in the team. His read of the game seems to be phenomenal. Like the amount of interceptions he made, it was, and some of them were definitely misplaced passes, but I just think he had real
Even if it's a
control
misplaced
of the
pass,
map.
mate,
Yeah,
you need to be there to get it, right? You
yeah.
can have a player make a misplaced pass, and if you don't pick up that misplaced pass, it's not punished. And that's one of the things we also need to do more of, which I think that
Hmm.
even Will Still has talked about in a roundabout sort of way, is that you do need to make sure that we punish the mistakes made by the teams. And I think we did that tonight pretty well, right? Archer and Fraser both
Hmm.
punished mistakes from Norwich, and
Yeah,
that's what's won us the game. And then
yeah.
just like an absolute bit of what I can describe as beauty in that Matsuki goal that then
I can
made it
describe it as
3-0.
something else, but it's not appropriate for the podcast.
Yeah, no, we've discussed that. Also, when you get a chance, I sent you something on WhatsApp that did make me laugh. It's about all
but
the other news that's taken over the world.
but but look, I mean, I think Shea Charles, he's going to be, I think, one of these players that does that work that sometimes goes underappreciated. But I just think he had real control of the midfield. And we talked earlier a bit about how Downs looks a bit out of sorts. And I kind of, as I'm saying it, I wonder if perhaps because that's the role he played
He
for
took
us in the Championship, the year before. I wonder if that's just maybe he's not really as bad as we think. He's just not as good by comparison when you
It's just
look at
that Shea
what's
Charles is
next to him.
doing a lot more of the work that he would have done previously, which makes him look worse. And then the problem is that the few times that he's done things that would expect him to do, they've resulted in errors. So because there's not the positives that are outweighing the negatives. There's a hyper focus on the negatives, right? And
Yeah.
I understand that, and I think that might be a fair comparison. But you're right, Shea Charles. There is a lot of work in that midfield that goes underrated, and they are the reason that we're able to push on. It's just, I think that's why sorting out the rest of that sort of midfield area is going to be so vital. And again, it's putting all this transfer business to bed, which by next week we're going to have to think of a different segment for Tuesdays. However, I think we'll all be a bit happier and breathe a little bit easier that we'll be able to, I guess, build for what is left of the championship season and now this cup run, which I don't know how I feel. I'm happy we won the game, right? But in the build-up that you talked about, Greg, I'm not still in the cup. The championship is more important, and now we got to deal with this. It's almost like what is it, like Ruben Amorim coming out and being like, "Well, it's really good, Manchester United don't have European football because then we can focus on losing in the Premier League instead." So it's very much the case.
I will be eagerly watching the draw tomorrow and look forward to drawing the longest possible away trip, which always seems to be the way in one of these games. I feel like we always seem to draw Everton or Man City in these cups.
Of course, we're going to end up drawing Everton because we needed to have a clash with the current owners of Tyler Dibling, mate. So
football's poetic in that way.
Of course it is. That is the way the universe works.
And then we always seem to draw Man City in quarterfinals. I don't know what it is. That's just that sticks out in my memory as just a consistent draw.
Are you sure it's not because you just remember the Nathan Jones doing the one positive thing he did for this club?
Musa Gineppo's lob. Is that what we're thinking about?
Absolutely. Yeah, just somehow stopping City from winning. Was it the quadruple at the end?
It was the quadruple that year, yeah.
We ruined it for him. Oh no. Anyway.
And now Nathan Jones got knocked out by a League Two team tonight. I don't know if you saw that. But
that's a bit...
I mean, it's hard to say in it because also, does anyone care about this cup?
Again, but also we struggled to get past Northampton at that point. And again, like that's one of the reasons that we do need to take the positives from this is that like a week ago wasn't as easy as we needed it to be, right? Like,
yeah.
So today was good. My man of the match, if you can't tell, Greg already is Matsuki because I've backed him from the start. I was glad for him to get on, glad for him to score a solid goal. I don't think he changed the match as much as I think you're right, like Shea Charles and sort of Nathan Wood and once again like Manning being solid as well, like and Rorislev being making runs that he very much naturally come into
on his debut.
Very like sort of naturally being able to come into a squad and just pick up that role. And I know that, that's kind of expected of footballers, but as we've discussed, we've got a couple of players that have required a bit of bedding in, right? And one of the reasons we wanted to bring him in, by the looks of it, is that he had Premier League experience and has been with Brentford during their promotion. And there are a lot of Brentford fans like, oh, thank God to be rid of him, this, that, and the other. But he has stepped in to that space, which would have been occupied by either Bree or Sugawara or apparently Fraser the entirety of the last couple of weeks, and has been able to step in there naturally. So I just think that it was a very good team performance. There are still big points of concern that aren't going to be resolved overnight. But shall we just take the win?
Like winning becomes a habit, and that's the important thing.
Can we just do that? Like that would be really nice for us to do.
Just think, right? Just think. You head into Saturday, we get a comfortable 3 points at Watford. That's my prediction. Spoiler alert. And head into an international break on cloud 9, ready to come back with fresh legs, ready to be kicked in a Derby Day affair.
Just reminded me there's an international break and I got sad. The other thing is a shameless plug for anyone that's not listened to it. Episode 232, we had our player profile on Matsuki because again, like I think that he could go on to be a real asset for the team, and I was glad to watch him get some minutes today and score one of the goals that he became known for when he was at FC Tokyo.
Just an absolute banger, that's for sure. Right. That is all we have got time for on this late night recording session after the game. Zach, as always, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Sorry, I've messed up your spiel where we thank the wonderful listeners that actually keep this podcast going, not just me and you chatting.
everyone for listening. What a wonderful affair to finish with a win in the evening. Beautiful. And we look forward to the draw. Who do you want drawing the cup? Let us know. What away day would you want, or even a home game, maybe? We'll see. Let us know in the comments or on all of the socials. We are on X, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Blue Sky, all of them. Let us know. We'd love to hear from you and cannot wait. We will be back tomorrow, as alluded to, with some Transfer Thursday, and it is going to be a bumper episode, I'm sure. There is a lot to talk about. But until then, thank you very much for listening. Enjoy the win, and we will see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.
Your daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.
Late night recordings, baby!